I constantly told my son to man up and stop making excuses. I didn't realize I was shouting at a drowning man until his room fell silent. And that silence became permanent. My son, Leo, was 23. To the outside world, and frankly to me at the time, he looked like a failure. I'm a simple guy. I grew up in a time when sweat equity meant something. I bought my first house at 24, working at a local manufacturing plant. I drove a beat-up truck, fixed it myself, and never complained. That was the American way. You work hard, and the math works out. So when I looked at Leo, I didn't see a struggle. I saw laziness. He had a college degree gathering dust. He spent his days glued to his phone, delivering food for one of those gig economy apps, sleeping odd hours and keeping to himself. He lived in my basement. He wore the same oversized hoodie every day, and he had a look in his eyes that I mistook for boredom. I was constantly on his case. "The world doesn't owe you a living, Leo," I'd say, slamming my coffee mug down. "Get a real job. Build some character." The Tuesday that changed my life started like any other. I came home from the shop, grease on my hands, feeling the good ache of a hard day's work. Leo was in the kitchen, staring at a bowl of cereal. It was 6 p.m. "You just waking up?" I asked, irritation rising. "No, Dad," he said softly. "Just got back. Did a few deliveries." "Deliveries?" I scoffed. "That's not a career. When I was your age, I had a mortgage and a baby on the way. You can't even pay for your own gas." He put the spoon down. He looked pale, thinner than I remembered. "The market is tough right now," he said. "Nobody's hiring entry level without experience. And the rent." "The math works if you work," I snapped. "Stop blaming the economy. Stop blaming the system. We didn't have safe spaces. We just got it done." He looked up at me. His eyes were heavy. Not sleepy. Heavy. Like they were holding up the ceiling. "I'm trying, Dad," he said. "I really am. I'm just tired." I rolled my eyes. "Tired from what?" "Sitting in a car, playing on your phone." "I've been on my feet all day. I am tired." "You have everything handed to you. Food, electricity, a roof, and you act like you're carrying the weight of the world." The kitchen went quiet. The refrigerator hummed. The news murmured something about inflation, but I wasn't listening. I was waiting for him to argue. Instead, he nodded. "You're right," he whispered. "I'm sorry I'm not who you were at my age. I'm sorry the math doesn't work for me." He stood up and hugged me, something he hadn't done since he was a child. It wasn't a strong hug. It felt like he was leaning, like he needed help just to stand. "I won't be a burden anymore," he said. "Get some sleep." I should have stopped there. I didn't. I followed him down the hall, my voice calmer now, but sharper. "I wouldn't be this hard on you if I didn't care," I said. "The world isn't going to wait for you to figure yourself out. Nobody's coming to save you." He paused at the bottom of the stairs. "When I was struggling, I didn't have time to be tired," I continued. "I pushed through. That's what men do." He nodded without turning around. "I just don't want you to wake up one day and realize you wasted your life," I added. "Regret is heavier than work, heavier than responsibility." "I know, Dad," he said quietly. "I hear you." I watched him disappear into the basement, convinced I was preparing him for reality. I went to bed feeling like a good father. The next morning, the house was silent. Too silent. I woke up at 6:30 a.m., ready to wake him early. We were going to look for real jobs today. I was going to drive him to the industrial park myself. "Leo! Up and at 'em!" I shouted, banging on the basement door. No answer. I pushed the door open. The room was spotless. The piles of laundry were gone. The blinds were open. The bed was made. military tight. And on the pillow, there was his phone and a folded piece of notebook paper. A cold shiver shot down my spine. Leo? I checked the bathroom. Empty. The backyard. Empty. The garage? My old pickup truck was gone. I ran back and grabbed the note. My hands were shaking so hard I almost tore it. Dad, I know you think I'm lazy. I know you think I'm weak. I wanted to be the man you are. I really did. But the mountain you climbed doesn't have a path anymore. I've applied to 400 jobs this year. I didn't tell you because I was ashamed. I drove her that delivery app for 14 hours a day just to pay the interest on my student loans, not even touching the principal. You told me to save. I tried. But when rent is double what you paid and wages are half of what they should be, saving feels like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. I stopped taking my medication 3 weeks ago because my insurance cut out and I didn't want to ask you for money again. That's why I was tired? You were right. The world is for the strong, and I don't have any fight left. I'm sorry. You won't have to pay my bills anymore. Love, Leo. I read the letter again. Then again. Each time, hoping I had misunderstood something, hoping there was a sentence I had missed that would change everything. I called his phone straight to voicemail. I got into my car and drove. I don't remember how fast I was going. I remember talking out loud, bargaining with nothing, telling myself I was still his father, and fathers fix things. When I saw the lights, I already knew. No one needed to explain anything to me. An officer spoke carefully, choosing his words like they might break if handled wrong. Someone held my arm when my legs gave out. Nothing dramatic happened. There was no moment of clarity, just a hollow understanding that settled in my chest and never left. It's been months now. People tell me it wasn't my fault. They say depression can hide well, but when I look back now, I am reminded of moments when I should have been more caring and understanding. Moments when I should have listened more, because sometimes life can break even the strongest people. I didn't notice that he was eating less. I didn't notice the pale look on his face. I never noticed how he avoided eye contact, as if it didn't really matter to him. And now I can't stop looking at the maths. He wasn't lying. He was working while I slept, applying while I judged, fighting something I refused to see because I was measuring him with a ruler from another era. We tell our kids, when I was your age, I had a house and a car. We forget to mention the price difference. We forget the pensions. We forget the hope. Leo didn't need a lecture on grit. He needed a father who understood that I'm tired didn't mean lazy. It meant he was running out of reasons to stay. Every Sunday, I stand at a quiet place and talk to my son like he can still hear me. I tell him about the truck. I tell him I'm sorry, but he can't hear me. The world is full of Leos right now, people working harder than ever, for less than ever, carrying pressures we barely understand. If someone you love says they're tired, if they seem stuck, if they're struggling to launch in a world that has changed the rules, please put down your judgment. Don't tell them to man up. Tell them you're there. I would give everything I own just to hear my son moving around the house again. Listen to the silence before it becomes permanent. There are more emotional stories like this. Sometimes we just don't hear them.